It's 8:36 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk, and we are very pleased to have Maryland Governor Larry Hogan on the line. Good morning to you, Governor.
Well, good morning, and thanks for the theme song. I like that.
Yeah, the Hogan's Heroes theme song. You always enjoy that, and it's. I thought it was in your contract.
And you guys are the only ones that play it, and you know, some of your listeners don't even remember that. But
yeah. All right. So listen, there's so much to talk to you about. We got a whole lot. Let's start off in politics, and we'll get to the personal stuff later because
sure.
There's some things we want to ask you about how things are going.
Absolutely.
First of all, in the political world, how is the first year as governor gone? I mean, it was 1 year ago about now that you won the governorship. You were sworn in January, but you've been at it now for a while. What are your accomplishments? What do you still want to do?
Well, yeah. So last night would have been 1 year from the election, and it was a heck of a night. As you guys probably remember, we pulled off the biggest surprise upset victory in the entire country, and it was a real wake-up call for Annapolis. They weren't expecting it to happen. I've really only been governor for 9 months, and so you know, everybody keeps cutting me short. I got 90 more days to get my 1 year accomplishments in. But it's really the anniversary of the election, and that was a big night. And in a state that was only 26% Republican, you know, I'm the first governor to ever be elected with public financing. We were outspent by $16 million, by 5-1, and we won 20 out of 23 counties by more than 35 percentage points. So it was a heck of a victory. You guys were there and a part of it. I was able to come on your show a number of times. We had some great live shows at the diner.
Yeah.
I remember very well, and lots of enthusiastic folks. So it was a terrific night, and then since then we've been really busy. So, you know, it's a lot of things. It's a tough job. I expected it to be challenging. I'm very pleased with the progress that we've made. We had a couple of unexpected challenges that weren't kind of on the radar screen. But we've accomplished much of what we said we would do, and we're just getting started.
Governor Hogan, a couple of things. And when you give that State of the State address in 90 days, you're going to be able to tell your Democrats in the Assembly that you've got a budget surplus, something that they were not expecting to hear at all, God knows. They're going to be really, really aggressive trying to get that money to spend on the things that they like to spend on. Yeah. Are you going to be able to take that budget surplus and promise the people of Maryland a tax cut that they are waiting for?
Well, yeah, here's the great news. You know, we've been working hard at this for 9 months, and that we are long term. I submitted last year, the day after I was sworn in. We submitted the first structurally balanced budget in a decade. Balanced the budget for that year and forever. Now the legislature sort of screwed that up by increasing spending and put us with a $1.2 billion shortfall at the end of the legislative session. But we've been working hard, running the government more efficiently. We cut, a couple of $100 million out of state government, and we're starting to turn the economy around. You know, we were getting higher revenues because we went from last in the region to first in the region in job creation. We've created 40,000 jobs, went from 50th in the country to one of the best in the nation, and the revenues are up. So we're spending less money, we're bringing in more money. And even though we've cut $500 million in taxes, revenues are coming in. It's exactly going according to plan. But the Democrats now want to increase spending and spend all that money. Instead, we're trying to continue to pay down our debt, get us out of this still $1 billion shortfall that they left us with, and to protect the pensions, which, you know, they've just about bankrupted and have failed to live up to their commitments.
I read that you have kept a promise and that you opened up a police barracks that had been closed.
Well, yesterday, in 2008, the previous administration closed down the Annapolis Police Barracks, which was ludicrous in my opinion. I mean, have a state capitol without a state police presence, and we finally got that open yesterday, and I think a lot of people are excited about that.
Governor Hogan, we noted here on Mornings on the Mall when you reversed course in the state of Maryland and stopped the state from being a sanctuary state. You decided that you would work with the federal government on immigration issues, and we applaud you for that. Are you, as governor, going to now institute some policies for cities who still call themselves sanctuary cities? Can you, as governor, actually force them to, no, you got to comply with federal law when it comes to immigration?
Well, there's no question that cities need to comply with federal law, and I'm against sanctuary cities in Maryland and anywhere else across the country. I don't think cities ought to be deciding which federal laws they want to follow and which ones they want to just ignore. And it's a problem that we've got to figure out, something about how we can stop it across the country.
All right, so one of the things that you did not expect to have to deal with were the riots in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And you were standing by with the National Guard, and we have reported, endlessly about how apparently you were ready, you couldn't get a hold of the mayor, but when you finally got the National Guard in there, you did sort of restore order. Then the promise was we're going to try to rebuild that area and help that area out. How's that going?
Well, yeah, so 90 days after I became governor, we were hit with the unexpected news that we had the worst violence in 48 years, and our largest city was in flames in just the first couple of hours. Once that disturbance started in Baltimore, we had lost 400 businesses and 170 police and firefighters were injured, and it was really out of control. The city of Baltimore was overwhelmed, and we acted instantly. We were ready and prepared and had been in anticipation of potential problems for more than a week. I had an executive order ready. We sent in 4,000 National Guard members almost instantaneously and 1,000 state troopers and other police officers from around the state and around the country. And as soon as we got there, all the violence stopped. Not another store was looted. Not another person was injured. And we put a blanket of protection over the city. We kept them safe for a week, and state of the it turned out as best as you could possibly hope for. And we're now going around the country teaching other states and jurisdictions about how to handle a situation in a crisis like that. But it was that was something I wasn't expecting 90 days into my governorship. They don't really teach you that at governor school.
Yeah. I bet, but I got to say, I think that on a national scale, you were seen as the grown-up in the room when all of that was coming down. And I wonder, I know that Chris Christie of New Jersey has been a political mentor for you. Did you have any communication? I've never seen this. Were you talking to him? You're like, geez, when that Sandy thing happened,
Exactly. Well, that's a great question and insightful. He was actually the first one to call me, so I declared a state of emergency. It was all over the national TV, and as soon as I walked off the stage, we're on our way to Baltimore. I got the phone call on my cell phone from Chris Christie saying, this. He said my challenge was the hurricane, and it came 3 years into my governorship, and this is going to be your defining moment, and it's only 3 months into your governorship, so get ready. And he gave great advice. He said, make sure that that you act instantly, don't hesitate, be seen, be out there, be among the people, let them know that you're there, let them know that you're going to bring peace to the city. And I drove right from there with lights and sirens to Baltimore. We never left for a week and worked around the clock. We moved our cabinet there. We brought in thousands of people with us, and it was a shining moment for the administration, and I'm proud of the job that both the National Guard, the state police, and everybody else did.
Wow, that's a great story. Who knew Christie had a little back channel there to you, Governor Hogan?
Yeah, cool. Well, actually, he texts me and calls me every once in a while, and I think when probably one of the other things you want to touch on next is when I got my unexpected diagnosis.
Well, in fact, that's exactly where we want to go. We're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to do our traffic and weather because that's really important.
It is.
You could still work.
To fix that traffic.
Yeah, you got to fix the traffic.
Work on that for us. But when we come back, we do want to ask you about how you're doing. After all of the treatment. Joining us on the line is Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. We've been talking about almost your first year in office. Certainly, it's been a year since you won the governorship, but. You ran into something I think you probably did not see coming, and that was a diagnosis of cancer. And you've gone through all of the chemotherapy treatments for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, 6 rounds of it, and that's tough. So I want to know, what's the prognosis? What are doctors telling you now?
Well, first of all, it was a shock. It came as a complete surprise to me. I thought I was perfectly healthy. We had just returned from a trade mission to China, Japan, and Korea, and I didn't really have any symptoms or signs, so I got this diagnosis that was quite a shock, and they said that I had advanced and aggressive cancer. It was 60 days after the riots we were just talking about, and 5 months after I was sworn in as governor. It's been a challenge, but I'll tell you what, I've been fighting through it pretty hard. I had gone through 3 surgeries and 4 spinal taps and 30 days of 24-hour chemotherapy, and it's painful, and it took a lot of emotional and physical energy, but it's been a great experience. I know it sounds strange, but I've had the opportunity to meet so many people that are going through difficult times. Cancer is something that affects 1 in 3 people in America, and I've heard so many stories of families and people telling me about their experiences or their spouse or their children or their parents, and I met some great kids who are tough little fighters and some incredible doctors and nurses that are saving lives.
And I appreciate that. Those are, I mean, really, people really admire the way you handle this. But I really need to know, sort of at the core, what are doctors telling you now about your prognosis for the future?
So it's looking great. I finished up the chemotherapy in a couple of weeks. In just about 2 weeks, I am going to have a series of scans, including a PET scan, that's going to tell me exactly where we are. And the hope, my hope and my prayer is that, and the doctors believe that we're going to have a great result from the end of this intensive chemotherapy. We don't have the final report yet, and you're not really cured. I mean, this is the kind of thing that can come back, but I'm hoping that in a couple of weeks I'm going to be cancer-free, and I'm certainly on the road to recovery. I feel stronger every single day, and I haven't missed a beat. We've still gotten a ton of things done with tax relief and job creation and doing all the things we said we were going to do. You were talking about Christie just a minute ago before the break, and he's been wearing my Hogan Strong armband ever since the first day, and he was one of the first people to call me after that as well, and we spent about an hour on the phone and just been a good friend throughout the process. But
that's very cool.
People have been wonderful.
Well, as a statewide official, the Maryland crab cake czar, I just want to thank you for not making all of us shave our heads and take on that evil overlord look like you're sporting. You make it look cool, but as the Maryland crab cake czar,
crab cake czar, I believe that is part of your contract that you should shave your head for.
I think nature is taking its course.
You're just taking a little longer than I did. That's all. It's a slower process.
Governor, we got to call it quits right there. Thank you for joining us, and good luck in your next medical report. We'll hope to hear from you then.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks,